hii message. Live. So Windows yako iko wapi?
Windows gani? See, that's it.
Open hata video.
Video zitakuwa nashinda hapa.
Open. Tuone. Okay.
So
lakini utatembeza uchange to your screen to rudi kwako.
Siwezi. Kuna nisi utakuwa hapa.
Darudi. Sinisha tusha set up present.
Kidogo there's something I was working on to see if it works.
Ujue uko tu kwa internet.
Iki-disconnect.
una stop.
Na stop kabisa. Okay.
Umta tweet. Eh? Building the Twitter API using Python.
To tweet.
Okay. Ina track nini?
Sasa ukae usikie nini na preach. Si ukae hapa session. Maana unataka nikupee leakage na umekuja umechelewa.
Inafaa
You
kumanage
have no
watu
right.
wengine.
You have no right.
Yuko internet.
Ai. Ikikatika kwenye itakatikia.
Present. Iko sawa.
Hajui tunatumia vitu nzito. Hi. Yes, if you're figuring it out. You're figuring it out is actually nice. Don't be shy about it. If you've written code before but not interacted with the API. The Twitter one. Yeah. You haven't? Okay. Yeah, that counts. That's Twitter API for websites. Yeah, that counts. You've actually done it. But now you haven't used the one we are going to be using today. But yeah. And then so today my name is Velda Kiara. I am so many things, but in this particular moment, I am an engineer. I became an insider a few hours ago, so that's exciting. And then guys, join my community. This is why I'm wearing this hoodie, so that you're also aware of this community. So I'll share the links after. So don't worry about that. I have everything that you'll need. So yeah, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Velda Kiara. And also on GitHub. So my aim for you today is that if you've not written code before, I get you from a 0 to a very strong 2. And then if you've written APIs before, but not particularly worked with the Twitter one, I can get you to a really strong 5. And then if you've done for websites, it's just like refresher and getting to understand how everything works. So the outline is I'm going to define what an API is, move to what the Twitter API does, and then we'll also have a developer platform walkthrough. And then also, I know that most of you may have had issues with getting access. So I'll also give you insights on that. We'll go through a few updates that have been made, and then why we use Tweepy, and then you'll have 3 demos. Well, I hope time allows, but if it doesn't, I'll just show you the main one. And then the other thing, we'll be looking at existing projects that have already been built. And then we'll talk about slightly the challenge that was here a couple of weeks ago, that people won nice swags due to participating. And then, yeah, if you want to also join the community, I'll share links. So that's basically what we're going to be doing today. So I really have a nice friend. Her name is Patty. She does painting. She used to actually do paintings, but then she's not the kind of people who stick with something for a long time. So after 2 years, she decided to move. I apologize for this. I don't know what's going on, but the cable had a few issues, so we'll sort that out later on, but at least it's stable for now. So back to Patty. She painted for 2 years straight and then decided she wants to move on to something else. And her aim was to be able to help other painters display their work and also get the painting sold. So every time I need a painting, she's the person I go to. So there's this particular day I had ordered a painting before, and I knew that it was there based on the feedback that I got from her. So what is an API in this particular situation? Remember that Patty has a storage room where she keeps paintings, right? She doesn't just display everything, because she knows if you display everything, then you're not also going to have something to sell the previous day, because her paintings also move very fast. I kid you not, every time I walk into that painting store, I never see the same painting twice. So this particular day, I walked up to her and she got my painting. She told me it's there. And I also asked for another particular painting, which she told me had already been sold. So, yeah, that day was difficult. But yeah, in this particular scenario, if you want to understand what an API is, you need to use the client server architecture. And what do I mean by this? I am the client asking for a service from the API. So party here acts as the API. And then her storage room, which she walks to get to tell me if the painting is available, is the server back room. So every time she goes back and tells me, no, there's no painting here. So meaning what I'm asking for is not found. That's why we have different status codes, like 200 means whatever you're looking for is there. 41 means you do not have authorization to now access the server. And then there's also, I think 200 and 500 is server errors. So I hope you've gotten a picture of what an API is. The next thing I'd like us to talk about is the Twitter API in general. So the Twitter API has three main products. So the one we're going to be looking at is the Twitter API where you can easily write scripts and have tasks running immediately. And then there's the ads API. I think you've seen a couple of ads in like different tweets. So that's what they use. And then as you mentioned, if you've rendered tweets in websites, especially in terms of reviews, you want to show people that what people are talking about on Twitter, but on your website. So that's what the Twitter for websites is. We have so many use cases, and the reason why I'm taking time to actually go through these use cases is because when you're applying for elevated access, that I will talk about in a couple of minutes, is you need to explain what you're building. So I don't know if you've had issues with people tweeting that they've never had access to the API for like 2 years, but then they got access just recently after a few changes. So that is something that you need to really look out for. And also, when you're applying for access, you need to ensure that whatever you're building is tailored to the particular use cases that are supported. So in this case, the first use case is businesses. I know we remember the Kenyans on Twitter thing of boycotting KFC because they were not using, was it our calculators? Yeah, so that became a huge issue. And for them to actually be aware of what is going on is based on the feedback that people give. And then they're also able to get customer feedback because it's like, you're not using our potatoes, you're not going to be ordering food from you. So that is how business operates. And remember, businesses long term is to make a profit. But what people don't say is that in order to make a profit, you need to balance all these things, whether it is giving quality products or like ensuring that the service that you deliver to your particular clients is also efficient. So you're able to do even customer services. I think you've all at KPLC at some point when there's no power at your house. So there's all that. So basically, that's the first use case. The second use case is building for public. We've had different tools that have been built for the public, like to ensure that people are actively communicating with other people efficiently and ensuring information is legit. And then we yeah, I said legit, guys. Oh. So the next use case is for research. If you're an undergrad or postgrad or probably even businesses, everybody does research at some point. So you want to be able to get info from people. Like you could hold a poll if you're trying to come up with a new idea and you also want to get data, especially in research. For my undergrad, I think I did something on businesses and small scale businesses and loans. So to be able to have a good understanding, you could hold a poll for this on Twitter and then reference that as your secondary source of data. Yeah, so this is how you can easily use research, whether it's doing solutions for non-governmental organizations and also conducting marketing research for your businesses. The next use case is what we are doing, what you're going to do hopefully in the future. So it's teaching and learning. Like if I know something and I have implemented something really good, I can easily come and tell you, yo, this is what I was doing. And yeah, you can easily learn from that. So the next thing is building for good. This is in particular cases where you have different communities which are already running. And then you're also able to connect with, like, if you're having issues with the PyCon tickets, I think the Python Nairobi Twitter person was actually looking at helping all of you get connected, whether it's getting connected to the Discord server or the Telegram channel. And then you also get to improve Twitter. Your feedback also helps them understand what they need to do. And then building for fun. Like you can legit wake up today and decide that you no longer want to tweet. But you are saying that as a person, but there's somebody also working in the background to ensure that you get tweets. So how does this work? You can easily implement an Excel function and then pass in your tokens to the particular function in Excel, and then have the Excel sheet tweeting for you every single time that you want it to tweet for you, or that you also want to like pass in information. So I'll give you a case in point later on. But yeah, this is basically about building for fun. You can build so many things. And as much as I said, for applying for access, it might be a little bit easier right now, because right now you can easily get the basic access, and with that you can easily start building. But then you'll also have a cap, because the functions also come with rate limits. That is how many times you should tweet in a day. And then deactivate your account for a particular point. So moving on to the developer platform walkthrough. Um, so this is how everything is going to look like. Yeah. If you want to apply for access, these are the different access levels. So right now, the only thing they're collecting is if you have a Twitter account, you can easily get access to the basic level. The basic level only gives you the one access, but you really want to be having elevated access, because there are some platforms which do not support V2 yet. So it might be difficult to incorporate that in your product. So, but if you have access to elevated, that means you get both endpoints, whether you want V1 or V2. And then it's really easy to navigate the website. So if you want to also use the portal, I know you won't be able to see the getting access in particular, because sorry. Yeah. So you'll not be able to see this because I've already signed up, but the steps are mainly email address, Twitter account, and then you also need to have verified your phone number to the Twitter account so that they verify that you're an actual person and all that. So this is how the developer platform looks like, but this is how your, if you get immediate access, this is how your portal will look like. As you can see here, here there's a cap which resets every single month, so you don't really have to be worried about anything else. And then it still follows the basic structure of everything that you're building, whether it's features, then apps, then projects. So you're given 3 environments for 3 projects. So for now, I think I only have 1 project on here. So yeah, we'll get to look at this, as I said, for the demo. And then the next thing is terms, conditions, and policies. You need to be able to understand why they're really keen on getting people's information. That's why I had to go through the different use cases, because it's also a social media platform that they need to protect people's data in. And then if you go through this, you won't really have a difficult time applying for access. But and I should not be quoted on this, the easiest way to get access or elevated access is to cite doing research, and especially research based on something that can impact either your local community or a certain number of people. And then that gets you like really high access. But yeah, do not quote me on this. I'm just trying to help do the Lord's work. So yeah, we have recent updates. And also, if you're in research but you also don't want to go through all the issues of coding and stuff, because I also understand that it's not for everyone, there is a no code solution. There is also an SDK for JS. So that's really interesting. You should check it out if you're a TypeScript person or JavaScript. If you're a Python person, I think we'll need to wait. Yeah. And then there's also improvements on the endpoints. If you haven't written this, you haven't written anything on the API, this is not that relevant, but we'll figure it out. Next thing is tweaking. We are here for a Python conference. And being a Python conference, obviously, and writing Python code, I use Tweepy as it's an open source Python package that you can easily use instead of directly hitting the Twitter API. Why do I use this at a personal level? Is because I don't need to worry about serializing data. I don't need to worry about HTTP request or authorization. All that is handled by this library. So why do I need to like reinvent the wheel? So I didn't see a point of that. Though I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying if you want peace, please use this. Yay! Demo time. So I don't know how long we have, but lunch is at 1:50. Sorry, people. But yeah, moving on to the demo. So here you'll see subtle differences. I've written some code in V1 and V2. Yeah. Who's the last? Excuse me, can you see this? You can't see? I got you. Well, it's not adjusting. Yeah, I don't know if I can adjust more. Tell me what point you see. It should be better. You can see. Okay. So, okay. So, uh, the first thing that you need to also understand to be able to write the API is you need to go through the TWP documentation if you haven't used the API before. TWP helps you understand. It's really well documented. Whether you want to use V1 or V2, every information you need is there. I don't know if I should show you. Let me just show you for all of us sake, then how you can easily get this. So I think this is the recent version. Yeah. So you can see on the outline there is docs for V1 and V2. So in this case, let's look at V1. Yeah, it also allows you to see how endpoints are, like if you want to say create a tweet. Just a minute. I know this one is still small, but yikes. Oh yeah, so the reason why I've taken time is because in my mind I was looking at V2, but then I'm seeing API. So the main difference between V1 and V2 is that in V1 you reference the API, but in V2 you call the client in general. You understand? Not really. I know you don't understand, but when you do it, you'll understand. When you do it, I want you. If we had time, we would like I would have all of you opening up your machines, but don't worry, my community is coming through with workshops, so be sure to attend that. Yes, shameless plug. So moving on. No, I wanted to show you how you see how like the TWP API has different parameters that you want to share where you're hosting. But let me just see the one I wanted to show you so that when you go home you can try this out because it's really easy to like do it. Um, um, um. Oh yeah, it's update status. Ooh. So when you select, it gives you it gives you info of what is needed. What are the attributes of a tweet? It needs to have, I know they haven't modified the media one, but you need to have who is tweeting, the ID of the user, which is basically authentication, but which is handled previously. But yeah, when you do it, please, if you have any difficulty, by the way, in writing your APIs, no, referencing your, yeah, definitely referencing your Twitter APIs, you can also contact me. Yeah, I'll try as much as possible to get you onboarded. But yeah, this is basically how you get the documentation. To update status is to tweet, but in the V2 documentation, I think they've also improved this. And then we have media. What do tweets contain? Tweets have, in this case, favorites are called likes. We have retweets, I think are still called retweets. We have keywords if you want to create a bot that tweets or retweets based on a keyword. I think somebody did that for the previous challenge and they've modified it to work also for this conference. I don't know if you've seen something called PyCon KE. My people. Yeah. So yeah, going back to our demo, I am having trouble with how these fonts look like, but as long as you're seeing, I think I will figure my stuff out. So V1, this is I normally like using functions because it's mainly easy to like see what this function does, and also in cases where you need to add more content to the particular script that you want. And then so this one, funny story. So I needed to keep everyone updated when we were having the challenge running, and I couldn't have the time to like tweet, okay, hi, we are at this particular date. If you still want to participate, here's the link. If you finished your words, here's the link to submit your submission. So I didn't have all that time. So I was like, why not automate things? So I created this. So you can see I have imported date and time. I haven't taken you through this. So there are different ways you can do this. But the most important thing, do not share your token under any circumstance. Do not. Because all this is linked to your account. So if you've even pushed on GitHub, there are steps you can actually delete that particular code. I don't remember the link, but it's on GitHub Docs. So you can easily get that and erase your tokens. And then even if you lose your laptop or something happens that you don't have keys, you can easily regenerate your keys. So that shouldn't be a problem. So here my codes are hidden on a config file that I will not show you, but it has the keys. You need to also assign. The weirdest way is, yes, I use git ignore, but it's not the best. It's not the best. You can't tell me it's the best. What if I lose this machine? Where am I going to get the keys? It's not the best. It's there. Of course, I know it's there. But look at this. What if I'm not the only person using this? It's not, we'll have a conversation on different applications which are actually trying to solve hiding keys. But yes, today we are on the API, so gotta do the Lord's work. So API keys, this is not completely necessary. I didn't edit this code because I was like, yeah, it works. So authentication. So here we use the auth handler, which is actually a authentication library for Python. And then this is where you need to also set the access tokens to to auth here. And then I told you use APIs here. So this is how you're going to access the API. And then this is actually content. Content of this suite is here because I wanted to calculate the current day we are in minus when the challenge is supposed to start or end. But this one I also modified this to do a tweet on PyCon. I don't know if you were seeing this, like we are 10 days from PyCon. Yeah, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. So when someone tweets, so let me show you how you can easily identify that this person has made this tweet right now and this person has automated their tweets. You see where there is a part for Twitter for iPhone people, and then we have Twitter for Android, and then we have. Let me just show you here. iPhone peeps, we see you. Uh, yeah, yeah. This is so yeah here. You can see it's like on KE Twitter demo. That's the source of. the tweet. So if you also want to see if somebody is lying to you that they have tweeted and all that, I'm not saying you should crucify people, but now you know. What? Yeah, you can still rename it. Yeah, you can easily rename it, but then if you rename it, you also need to remain your project, because yeah, on your project is where you name this. So yeah, moving on. Jinkies. So this is the bots for version 1, looking at version 2. So this is what I was telling you about. Remember the other particular point we were having an, how is it called, a variable with auth, and then passing in the tokens, then using setting the access tokens again. But here it's really easy. I only, you can see I commented out this code because it was completely unnecessary. And then I know some words might confuse you, but as long as you know a client is a consumer, you're good to go. And then so here it's really easy. Here I didn't write functions, I just wrote the code. And then if you want to create the tweet, so as you can see here, let me just highlight the main differences. Here you're going directly to updating the status and then mentioning the status, that is the tweet. But in v2 it's called text. And then you also need to have if the authentication is true or not, but it's going to still verify. But yeah, you are good to go. So it's really easy to write V2, but the challenge of V2 comes in when some of the applications or products that have been built based on V1 start having challenges. So if you're moving from V1 to V2, you need to do it like, don't do it very fast because they've also not modified every endpoint. So just take it easy. You can just use V1 and V2. And then the other thing, so this one was on tweeting, data mining folks, research people, I got you. But I wasn't saving this data, but it's still available. So here, of course, authorization is definitely a must. So here, this is where I was testing. This first statement is to test if I can actually get the tweets based on the Python. I used Python Nairobi. Yeah, so the screen name is the account for Python Nairobi. So Python Nairobi is the Twitter handle for this community. So I needed to see if I'm getting text or I should just go home. And then extracting tweets. As I mentioned earlier, there are like tweets have attributes like who tweeted, when was it created, how many counts does it have. So you need to also identify this. And then I call them different names according to the TP library. And then you can also avoid having, or if you don't need all this information, it's not necessary. But for this particular purpose, we have to do all this. So it looks funny, but you can see, like everybody can see, right? Okay. So you get the tweet ID. The ID is normally on the URL to tweets that you get. And then the text is what are they saying. The favorite count is keyword for like, how many people have liked. Retweeting is how many people have retweeted. What time was it created? Was it, did they get a reply? And then also the reply to the user, and then retweets and favorites is just still likes. So this is how everything takes place. Ooh. Yeah, so we had like 19 tweets at this particular point. And if you also want to save the data, you can just do pandas. What you want to mine data? Yes, you can just use pandas and then you can just save this file to a CSV. So this is basically if you're mining data. But uh, has anyone mined any data from Notes? What did you use the data for?
There's a funny example. So I had a couple of friends of mine was building a gym business. So we did tweets of anyone talking about alcohol or gym in Nairobi. And you could search, but you could search through the API, you could geotag, like within this geolocation to give you all these of those like that. And then I fed that directly to their Slack, specific Slack channel.
Start up right there. So if you also want to evaluate your business, this is how you can easily know that if you have an idea or you want to solve a problem, you can mine data for that idea. Like ask if anyone having a problem with what is common that you can all have problems in. Electricity, Wi-Fi, yes, and then you also get if you're you're moving to like different locations and you want to be sure that if there's another Shida, look at get data for that particular place and then have keywords of the KPLC or electricity backup, and then you get to have all this data. So the next thing is sentiment analysis, the bread and the butter of this demo. So I know like the inputs are always a lot. I don't know why they make it difficult, but we know that everything has its own mistakes in this particular time. So we just need to do this. If it is up to you, you could reduce this to something else, but then the structure becomes difficult. Oh no, this works. It works. If it works, it works. So text log is for reading contextual data. Tweetly, open source package interact with the API. Matplotlib to plot data. Pandas analysis, NumPy analysis, but for big data. And then there's one for visualization. Is it Pandas or is it NumPy? Either. Is it no? There's one for analysis, and then there's one for analysis, but like there's visualization and anyway inputs. You can listen to this. So we have the natural language toolkit, and then you have also the text project to be able to hear them from different anyway, yeah. And then word cloud. Let me show you something. So I didn't know that you could actually generate a word cloud using code, but I didn't know how I was even thinking about this in the first place. But I never thought of it like that. I was like, you can just go there and then minimize the fonts and then do your thing. So this is a word cloud. I didn't even know that's what they're called. I just knew that it's like a form of creativity that you can just go on Canva, reduce fonts, and then get this. How am I supposed to know that you guys you can generate this with code? But anyway, life is learning. Yeah. So yeah.
There's a site for what generators where you can delete the word cloud in a specific shape, like
Really?
the word cloud in the shape of a city of the logo. You just have to
Ooh, which link?
there's just a what the generator, you can pick the logo of whatever shape you have, but then I don't know if they let you do it automatically.
Really? It's like the no code solution for what we just
What you
coded.
can say, but then yeah,
You see, there's solutions for everything. Sometimes you don't need to disturb yourself. But also, if you have time, why not? Why not? Let's try. Well, I hope my internet. So let's say Python. What's going on? Python or Twitter? What else is interesting? I know LaxTech does really good job in educating people. So shout out to them too. So what else? Wayne leads Angular. We are paying homage. Wayne, relax. Yeah, generate cloud. I don't have a lot of words, but it should supposed to work. It takes this long on my it's my thing. What is the problem? Yeah, but I don't have a lot of words, so it makes sense to not have a lot of words. But at least it works. Proof of concept. So yeah, going back to why we are here. Uh, yeah. So PIL just gives you stopword. Stopword is like words that should not be there. Yeah, and then PIL is pillow. It gives you editing. Properties for the image or editing image properties of the code. And then Veda, but not Darth Vader, is for analyzing your tweets based on it's called what? It starts with be something, but what it does is it analyzes your tweets based on three main numbers. So -1 is for negative, then 0 is for neutral, and then 1 is for positive. What's that called? P something. I know it starts with P. It's yes, yes. Ooh, okay. And then lang detect is for detecting, obviously changing the language to something that people can understand. And then snowball steamer is eliminating common words. Common words are like off, there, is. These are not like really important words in a sentence. If you're looking at
Because of proper stems is
Stemmers is not removing.
if it's having if it's making
Oh yeah, oh awful.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
you're onto something. Yes,
words
yes.
words that don't like preposition
Yeah, yeah, the
that don't
off
add
and the
meaning
if.
to the
Yeah,
document,
yeah.
it's telling you that
Yeah.
it's reducing going to the stem of the word. But anyway,
Yeah, no, I remember I did something with O and awful that they're not in the same. Is it stem? They're not in the same, but they have like they're almost the same something. Something. Anyway, so we did this with the getting access and getting authorization. And then also here, I wanted to know the keyword was PyConKE for this particular conference. Don't worry, this code will be available to you so that you can mess around whatever you want to do. Feel free. So yeah, I created also a list for the list of tweets that were there. There's nothing interesting here actually going on. It's just adding tweets to the particular list that they're in, whether they're negative or positive or neutral. So the things that are neutral is because they have you ever heard of subtle insults? Like somebody insulting you, but then you also take time to digest. Was that an insult? Was it, how should I take it? So there's somebody actually on Twitter. They do they are I don't know if it was product at that point or project management. So they tweeted something that their manager had told them, and then they were like, "I don't understand whether this is supposed to be a compliment or it's a subtle insult." So he actually created a poll because he was like, I can't be the only one struggling with this statement. Let me make it somebody else's problem. So yeah, he got a poll, and I think 90% sided with this is a subtle insult. And then I remembered mostly in conversations, like people might undermine you, but they put it nicely. And then when you're seated down and then you're analyzing different conversations you've had, you're like, mm-mm. So yeah, this is the total number of tweets. I was targeting 1,000, but apparently the maximum they had was 279. So this is where we go to creating pie charts. So normally pie charts are supposed to have white backgrounds, but I like purple, so you guys. Yeah. Yeah, so the first two lines actually just go. I didn't find a simple way to add this particular code in one line because I thought it could easily be done. This solution is for Stack Overflow. Thank the gods for creating that. But yeah, it works. And then also creating labels, the different sizes. You can also see that the pie chart is separated as a pie so everybody can have a slice. So there's also that. So you don't need to have like plain things. You can be creative. You also want to dissect this more. You can easily do that. And then, so we haven't really done. We've seen how it's supposed to work, right? But remember, there are also people who duplicate people's tweets. We don't want to analyze that because it's already been mentioned. So that's why we are dropping the duplicates in place. So in place, if you've done algorithms and you're being told modify this list, but in place, you guys, life experiences. Anyway, so this is how you just drop them in place and then have the complete info. We have a lambda function here to eliminate special characters like at, z, and all these things that we use to modify tweets. And then I was also mapping them to text, so you'll see text reference at the very last part. So yeah, this is how it looks like. So it went from at Michael Bukachi to, you can't see what's here, but yeah, you can see goes home to change slide templates and all that. Yeah. And then the next thing is, yeah, I created frames for negative, positive, or neutral. And then I was still created data now to analyze in terms of percentages, whether 62 out of 100, like how does that percentage look like? And then like if it's 62 tweets that were positive, then how does that look like over the total number? And then, as always, Purple folks, we came in here with a different chart, but still the same. And then, this thing, what we were learning today, creating a word cloud. So to also create a word cloud, if you want it to like pop, you need to have an SVG of particular images that you have. So if you have a cloud image, if you have an image that you are a designer and you want to flex, you can easily have one for like different pyramids. I am not an experienced designer. That is why my solution is Canvas. So I couldn't do this because I didn't find a template. But we move. So what cloud here is basically what he said, like getting the, you'll see everything here actually later on. So cloud PNG is the SVG I was talking about. Stop words is what he said, like off there is, and then maximum words was like 3,000. Stop words are actually what I have mentioned, and then repeat the most common words that have been mentioned in different sentences. And then yeah, we generated the word cloud, and then ooh, we made it. So yeah, this is the Lord's work on. I don't know where I found this SVG, but if it works, it works. So yeah, you can see the most common things like PyCon, CAM, but actually I think some of these are tweets that I was generating. Yeah, because Twitter API Python KA. Did somebody tweet on looking started active using tomorrow or Tieno expert? Hey, he made it to the list. Hey. Yeah, but who can tell me why I chose mustard? I have you are close, but it's not the what? You need to be specific. You got weren't you listening while I was flexing? We have made solutions of having glasses to make sure you see color. Anyway, I can just tell you it's not so complicated. You've seen the Python logo. It has mustard and navy. It's actually referencing to this. Say we would have said this, but Python logo would have gotten it. You have. Do I owe you anything? I do. To all of us. Oh, I owe you. I don't know if I have anything. Let's see if I have something. So this is what I found. Come to my events. I have very good budget. But good job. You figured it out. Yeah. So yes, moving on to the next part. So any questions on the demo before I move on? I can't see. There's a lot of light I can't see. Yeah. Question. You're asking me a question. Yeah. It's me you're calling. No, I can't. I don't have my glasses sometimes.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Usually, I used to take long time ago.
I haven't used it.
So I realized they had a limit of only 1%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could be a very good example.
It is, but that's why I told you guys, apply for academic research, you get, I think, 1 million tweets or 2 million or a particular million of. How long do I have? I'm actually finishing. I have done the Lord's work today. I've told people how to apply for access. I think we can even go home if you want to. But don't leave the conference, please. So who else said something? Lazy were playing. You guys are doing that. Lazy, I know you. Vincent. You said actually for websites and something. What else are you? Got you. Yeah. I would love to get one of those solutions. But come to my event. Where are your events? My events. Yeah. What type of events do I have? That's it. You can come with like food, whatever you want. Oh, you want to no, you wait, you don't have whatever it is. But let's just avoid this particular question. So, any questions on the demo? Any questions on Tweepy?
Mine makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
it's a private account, it's a bank account.
Oh yeah, I know that. I haven't used that credit, I can't really. But if you continue the question.
So whenever I tweet, let's say I'm doing determine, now my tweet be mine since it's only based on my followers.
If your followers are mining, they'll get you later. But if it's not somebody you're also following, they wouldn't. You have tweeted something that is controversial.
There was something else, but between lines per tweet, and it shows up as different tweets. But is it showing up
On yeah.
There's something else to tweet.
Yeah, I haven't done that particular point, but yeah, there are so many things you could build on this. Yes, you had a
Now that Musk is taking over and is killing bugs, will people get
Well, let's see how it goes. I want to avoid every landmine because I also don't know. So I can't give you an answer. But if I get the answer when I have a meeting with one of my managers, I will let you know. So going on to the presentation. Of course, we've built a bot, we've mined data, we've done sentiment analysis, existing projects. I don't know if you've heard BotWiki. So BotWiki is like Wikipedia for interesting bots. Like you can see cats and people who are also generating bots. So everything has been built. Everything that every bot that has been, is it widely voted or widely used, is actually on here, and it has different categories. So if you want to look at it, feel free to scan it. So we'll take like 2 minutes if you want to scan it. Not actually 2 minutes, 1 minute is enough. These slides will be public. So next, social opinion. Social opinion is more of like tweet and analytics, but with more features. So it's also premium because people have taken time off their day to develop this. So if you're looking to have a wide social engagement, or if like your numbers are really important to you or the work that you do, this is definitely something to look out for. Spaces search is any space that's currently happening. You can easily search it from there, or I think they also have recorded. So you can see these tweets have been rendered on a particular website. So this is also another use case. And then feedback on the bot challenge. So my question to you is, did you know of the bot challenge that took place a couple of weeks ago?
I knew when it was over.
Let me go to my phone. Yeah, did you guys know about the bot challenge that took place like in
You knew when it was over
when it was over? Anyone who knew and signed up to participate but did not submit? I have work to do. So yeah, what happened was, actually, let me give you a secret. This challenge was the very first challenge that was taking place. What that means is that the bar has not been defined of what is expected. So whether you built a tweet to like and retweet, whether you are making data and saving it to something, we were accepting. I don't want to say everything because we didn't accept everything anyway, but we accepted things that made sense. So I will forgive you for not knowing about it because that is also my fault at that point. But yeah, the community is still young. It started off last year, September. I think the last one of the year, I can't remember the particular one. But yeah, we're trying to make it lively. That is why I'm also giving this talk so that I also drive you to come to my session. By the way, the sessions you're having, we're going to be doing like actual workshops. Yes, yes. It's APIs. We can't be talking about this without writing code. We cannot. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you also learn to code in those particular sessions. Yeah, and any other questions about the particular bot was that I had asked people to write articles. That became a problem. I removed that, and at least the submissions improved. I also had another requirement that I don't remember what that requirement was about, but after removing some of these issues on the forms, I started getting submissions. So what that tells me is the next challenge I'm going to have, I am definitely having people write. Yes, yes, yes. The bar has been raised. I hadn't defined it, but something that I'm telling you for free. If you want swag from me, you will sweat. But what you will get, there are no questions. Ask people who want how they're feeling. Eh? Ask them. Ask them. Ask them. Situation custom make for you products one okay, go plan. You guys. Yeah. Okay. So main takeaways as we leave this session is I don't want to tell you to not reinvent the wheel, but if it's easier, like to obviously use open source tools. I think if you attended the very first session for Ben, he was like, software is mainly like pick this and then just start building, which makes your development process easier. And then you also have like less build time as well as now focusing on what you're actually solving. So if you can use open source tools, use them. If you can contribute. People are making very huge moves due to open source. And then create as many things as you want. Like you don't have to necessarily have something complicated like sentiment analysis. You can build something creative that also stands out, like something I've never had before. Maybe you also want to use the API to build your own word cloud or anything that people have not thought of. So yeah, and then there's something for everybody. Like I say, there's a local solution for researchers, and then there's also businesses if you want to have ads. There's also reviews on websites to render tweets on the website so that people can see, oh, this is actually a legit review. Because we all know that some companies, in regards to reviews, they have done something. They have either bought the reviews or they're actually faking reviews. That happens. That is like it's everywhere, right? And then questions. This is a link to the demo and the slides, but I'll share it after a while. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to have access to the slides, notice if you've been listening to me, you know everything in the slides. You only need the code. Yeah. And then yes, Tabby. Yes, ask me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I see amazing stuff you've done, the work cloud, and I want to create cash cow. I mean, do I need to scholarship? Do I need to go and start learning Python in details?
Good question. Very good
Or
question.
what would you advise? How long will you take for me to? I just want to get started on this.
So that's a good question. If you're starting out, the only thing you need to know is the basics of the language. Like how do you do variables? How do you handle this, arrays, dictionaries? You only need to know that. When you know that, I've been writing like everything I've written here if you know basic Python, you could see it. The only thing that probably was an issue was on sentiment analysis because I was using. Yeah, so if you just know the basics or I want to say data structures of a particular language, it's even easier to do context switching, like if you're moving from Python to JavaScript, because you know, this is how we do dictionaries in Python, but in JavaScript, I know you also need to be structure and array. But JavaScript is like, we all try, but we don't talk about it. But if you can do it for as long as you can. But yeah, the other thing is shameless plug. Join this community's Discord. We have, I think Twitter is more common, but everything is communicated everywhere, so you have access to all this. You can easily get info. So why Discord and not just Telegram is because we want to have a lot of people building, and then we can't be handling every question on Telegram because now we need to have like a particular question sections, and then they also need to have conversations like what was difficult for you when you're building, what are the bottlenecks that you face, and if you have any issues. Yeah, I have been told time, but I think I nailed the time bit. So see ya. Thank you for attending my talk. Enjoy